Now, 6 o'clock, more coaches have been named in the Rockstar Cheer sex abuse lawsuit. Attorneys have amended the federal case, adding 6 more men. The lawsuit says they were all proteges of the man at the center of the case, Scott Foster.
Fox Carolina's Grace Runkel staying on top of the story for us. And Grace, what do we know about these other coaches?
Well, attorneys made a pretty significant amendment to the lawsuit that they originally filed at the beginning of the month. At first, it was 44 pages long. Now it's 76, with much more detail about the new people alleged to be involved. And we found several of these men would have been able to have contact with cheerleaders up until today. Rockstar Cheer founder Scott Foster committed suicide last month while being investigated by the Department of Homeland Security for sexual misconduct. Since then, dozens of men and women have come forward with stories of abuse, and 2 lawsuits have been filed. So here's the new men that have been named: Kenny Feely, Josh Guyton, Nathan Allen Plank, Christopher Hinton, Tracy or Trayvon Black, and Peter Hawley. Now, we've reached out to each of these men. No one has returned our request for a comment just yet, but all of these men were either employed by Foster or by Rockstar. And I want to focus on one of those coaches in particular. So Kenny Feely, based on details alleged in the lawsuit, Foster employed Feely more than a decade ago, and since then, Feely has created his own cheer business. In fact, the lawsuit calls it an empire. He runs a company called Spring and travels the world coaching cheerleaders and coaches in person and virtually. The lawsuit says when Foster and Feely worked together, Foster would determine the hotel room arrangements at competitions, and Foster assigned him to a room with a 16-year-old girl. Attorneys say that Feely groped her, and Foster went on to arrange a private lesson for Feely and the cheerleader, but instead of training, the lawsuit alleges that Feely took her to his apartment, gave her drugs and alcohol, and then drove her somewhere else and raped her. Now, according to Feely's bio on his website, he was an assistant cheer coach at Clemson University from 2004 to 2006, and this is just a fraction of the new details that the lawsuit has. So you can read the entire lawsuit in full in our Fox Carolina News app. Justin.